Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Berea City Council meeting, April 4th, 2023. I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please let the record reflect that a quorum is present. This time, I would call on Councilman Jim Davis to lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Jim?
Will you pray with me, please? Our Father and our God, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for the many blessings of life. We ask that you watch over the people in our nation that have suffered from tornadoes, and be with those that are in the path of tornadoes in the next day or two. Dear God, we ask that you watch over the employees of this city, all of us sitting up here in leadership positions tonight. Guide us and direct us. Help us make the right decisions and what's best for this city. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And I ask you to join in, or stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, Jim. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
David Rowlett and second by Steve Cottle. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from March 21st, 2023 meeting. Is there a motion to approve by Jerry Little? Second by Steve Cottle. Any discussions or corrections for the minutes? Seeing none, we'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from March 21st, 2023, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. Next, we have two proclamations this evening. The first one is Child Abuse Prevention Month. What I'll mention about both of these is they're a little unique because they are actually a joint proclamation where Madison County Fiscal Court, the City of Richmond, and the City of Berea all signed the proclamation together in unity as a unified approach. So tonight I'm going to begin with the proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I'll read the proclamation, make sure I get the right one. Okay, here we go. This is now National Child Prevention Month, will be recognized throughout the United States as well as the Commonwealth of Kentucky during the month of April. Whereas children are vital to our state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets, and whereas all children deserve to have safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities to foster their healthy growth and development, and whereas child abuse and neglect are a community's responsibility, affecting both the current and future quality of life of a community, and whereas communities that provide parents with the support and resources to ensure all children grow to their full potential, and whereas effective child abuse prevention strategies succeed because of partnerships created among all citizens, now therefore we, Madison County Judge Executive Reagan Taylor, Richmond Mayor Robert Blythe, and Berea Mayor Bruce Fraley do hereby jointly proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Madison County, and call upon all citizens to increase their participation in efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live. And here tonight to accept the proclamation, what I'm going to do is something a little different. I'd like to first recognize Victoria Binge. And Victoria, if you would like to maybe say a few words, and then we'll do the next proclamation, and we'll have a little photo op for the newspaper, if that's all right with you. So Victoria Binge from CASA, if you'd like to take the podium there, welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm Victoria Binge. I'm the Executive Director of CASA of Madison and Clark Counties, and we advocate on behalf of children who are abused and neglected in the court system. And so April is Prevent Child Abuse Month, and the national symbol is a pinwheel. It's a blue and silver pinwheel, and that is supposed to symbolize the happy childhood that all children deserve to have. So I just want to encourage you all to come out on next Wednesday evening from 4 to 6 in front of City Hall. We're going to be planting 301 of these pinwheels. And you might think 301 is a really odd number, but that is the number of children that were abused and neglected in Madison County in 2022. So each pinwheel will recognize a child from our community that was involved in the court system last year. So I just strongly encourage you to come out and help us plant all of these pinwheels and just recognize the number of kids we have in our system and what we can do as a community to help them and make their lives better. But thank you.
Awesome. And that date is next week?
Yes, next Wednesday,
Next Wednesday?
the 12th,
And what time?
4 to 6
4 to 6.
in front of City
All
Hall.
right, so you guys are all invited to come. Members of the public are invited to come to join Victoria. Also, Victoria won't brag on herself, but if I'm not mistaken, didn't you have like a really big award like CASA Executive Director of the Year or something? I probably didn't get that
Yeah.
right, but would you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, so in June of 2022, I was named as the National CASA Director of the Year, and so that's out of about 1,000 directors across the nation. It's huge for our community, but also our state. This is only the third time in the history, in 40 plus years, that a Kentucky director has won it. So it's really exciting.
And I think that deserves acknowledgement. It was even bigger than I thought. And we'll have you back up in just a second to do a photo, if that's okay, all right? And now tonight, our second proclamation is for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And pleased to have folks from our 911 led by Wendy Lynch. So I'll read the proclamation and I'll ask you, Wendy, if you want to say a few words, and your staff's welcome to as well. Whereas emergencies can occur anytime that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property, and whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Madison County 911 Emergency Communications Center, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contacts our citizens have with emergency services, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety, and whereas public safety telecommunicators of Madison County 911 have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, and whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year, now therefore we, Madison County Judge Executive Reagan Taylor, Richmond Mayor Robert Blythe, and Berea Mayor Bruce Fraley do hereby jointly proclaim the week of April 9th through 15th, 2023 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Berea, Richmond, and Madison County, Kentucky, and encourage all citizens to honor the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our community safe. And again, I'd like to invite Wendy Lynch from 911 to address the council. Wendy, welcome. Thank you. And I'm gonna sneak down while you're talking, so.
Okay, yes. So it's one of my favorite time of years, not just because it's Telecommunicator Week, because I always get to come and give an update about our previous year as we're doing our annual report. So just a little bit about Telecommunicator Week is just to honor the telecommunicators during that week. So it's a really good time for citizens to send cards and thank yous and to be noticed by the responders. Also, the entire month of April is National 911 Education Month, so you'll see a lot of that on our Facebook and social media. For 2022, we took computer-aided dispatch calls, which is the CAD where we put the calls for service in. So countywide, we had 126,433 calls. Administrative phone calls, our center took 75,425 inbound calls. And 911 calls, we took 47,240 calls. So that gave us a total of 119,665 phone calls inbound. Training hours, we've started keeping up with those hour-wise and giving the report to the 911 board. Now, instead of just listing the trainings we go to, for January, we had the center total, in addition to what they do with the calls, they had 105 training hours that they took. In February, with the center as a whole, had 608 hours of training. And then March, we just capped off 343 hours of training. So that's just kind of where we are. If anybody has any questions or anything, just a little recap of our year.
Sure. Would anybody like to ask a question of Wendy while she's here? All right, seeing none, Wendy, we do want to thank you and your team, which you have 2 team members here, for the critical work that you do throughout Madison County, and recognizing that the 3 governments do support the 911 operations. It's run very efficiently, and we're really, really happy to have you here and representing the dispatchers and the 911 team. So
Thank you very much.
Thanks to
Yes.
you.
Oh, thank you.
Wendy, if you'd like to start, we'll get a photo if your team would like to come up, and I would ask the council if you all would kind of speak back here.
Ronnie, you can scoot out just a little this way. Okay. Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Jerry, Ron. Ronnie.
Where you want me to roll? You guys ready back there? Ronnie, where you at?
I'm here.
I'm here. Yeah, you're
Am I right, Rose?
Teresa, can you scoot just this way for me? Yes, I can. I got you. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I gotta let him. Can't do nothing without you.
That's what I was gonna say. You don't like those photo ops, I know. And again, thanks to all of you for being here. It's really important that we recognize the important work that's done in our community, including both of your groups. So thank you again. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 02-2023. This is a supplement to 2023 Code of Ordinances, and this is the first reading. Mr. Gilbert.
Whereas American Legal Publishing Corporation, Cincinnati, Ohio, has completed the 2023 S-29 supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Berea, which supplement contains all the ordinances of a general nature enacted or amended since the adoption of the last supplement to the Code of Ordinances of this municipality. And whereas said American Legal Publishing Corporation has recommended the revision or addition of certain sections of the Code of Ordinances which are based on or make references to sections of the Kentucky Revised Statutes. And whereas it is the intent of the City Council to accept these updated sections in accordance with the changes of the law of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Now therefore, the City Council of the City of Berea, Kentucky does hereby ordain as follows. 1. That the 2023 S-29 supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Berea, as submitted by American Legal Publishing Corporation and as attached hereto, be and the same are hereby adopted by reference as if set out in their entirety. 2. All ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed.
And that is the first reading, with the second reading scheduled for our next meeting on April the 18th. For press practice, I'll open the floor for any discussion or questions. Seeing none, we'll move forward to department head reports. And tonight, the featured department is Berea Police Department. And we're very pleased to have new Major Aaron Boykin here to brief us tonight on behalf of the chief. Aaron, welcome. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, City Administrator. Oh, I turned it off. Look at me. Let me try that again. Thank you, Mayor, Council, City Administrator. I'm also going to try to change things up a little bit tonight. I'm going to have a lot of numbers to give you all. If any of you have any more questions, let me know. I'm not going to try to bury y'all in the numbers, but I think they're important. They kind of paint a picture. First, I'd also like to thank our telecommunicators. Without you all, we couldn't do what we need to do. And sometimes I think what the public often forgets is our telecommunicators are hearing this first before a police officer, a firefighter, EMT, anything arrives on scene. And I think sometimes for you all, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the hardest things is not having a resolution, not being there to be able to do something about the thing that you're taking that call on. So it makes it a very unique and stressful job, and we all certainly appreciate you, so thank you again. With the police department, our activity for March, we've started keeping a little bit better track of our activity throughout the community. First off, we have 31 collisions in the month of March. We're maintaining our focus on proactive policing and traffic enforcement to increase safety in the community. One thing I'd like to ask the public to do is keep an eye on our Facebook page. We're actually going to start putting more information up there on areas that we're getting reports of problems in. So for instance, some of y'all probably seen all the speed signs that flash at you and tell you you're going too fast. We're going to start actually putting that on our Facebook so the public is aware, hey, we've got this speed sign up here, watch your speed in the area. We've got complaints. And then it's also not a surprise when there's increased enforcement action in that area. If you see the flashing speed sign and see it on our Facebook, it's a pretty good bet we're going to be in that area pretty heavily, trying to bring those complaints down and make sure everyone's safe. We wrote 163 citations in the month of March and 21 courtesy notices. That's basically a documented warning. One of those odd things where it's verbal, yet we document it just to show that we did it and everything was okay. We completed 34 case reports. Those are criminal case reports. We completed 32 incident reports. The separation there is between criminal and possibly just a complaint that needed documented. And we conducted 297 traffic stops. That is an increase. Again, I mentioned we were focusing on our traffic safety, making sure that people in the community are being safe. So our community members will most likely see an increased presence of officers on traffic stops with their blue lights on the side of the road. If you do see that, just make sure you give them leeway and ample room to conduct their business and be safe. To go with those speed signs, we also have speed surveys that go with those. So the three that I have to talk to you about today are on Chestnut Street, Richmond Road, and Big Hill to 1016, and then also 1016 to Big Hill. It goes both directions. On the first one is Chestnut Street. We surveyed traffic coming through there for 8 days with those signs. Inbound, we had 36,639 cars go through it, and outbound, we had 31,474. Of those cars, 99.1% inbound were doing the speed limit, or 30 miles per hour or less. That's 5 miles per hour over the posted speed limit of 25. So that's actually a pretty good number. 99.1% were going at least within 5 miles an hour of the speed limit or less. Outbound was also very good, 97.13. Then we move on to the 31 to 35 miles per hour. That's significantly down to 0.84 inbound and 2.52% outbound. I will spare you all the rest of the numbers, but it keeps going. We did, I will mention, have one that was within 41 to 45 miles per hour in that 25 mile per hour zone. On Richmond Road, we surveyed the traffic for 17 days. There was a total of 121,467 cars. Of those, 70.59% were 45 miles per hour or less. 16.56% were 46 to 50. 51 to 55 was 9.22%. And then we did have, and I'm not even sure what the number is on this, but it is a 10,000th of a percent. So it means about a car and a half, I think, if I do my math in my head real quick. We're 71 miles per hour plus. That's pretty fast. So there are some more issues with Richmond Road. That is going to be one of our focus areas to try to bring that speeding down. Then Big Hill to 1016, that was a total of 13 days that the cars were surveyed. In that direction, we had 8,906 cars. 86.37 or less, or I'm sorry, 86.37% were going 45 or less. 6.97% 46 to 50 miles per hour. 2.32% were 51 to 55. It drops off significantly after that. And on this one, we had actually one car that was going 71 miles per hour plus. From 1016 to Big Hill, again, 13 days, there were a total of 12,446 cars. 96.79% were 45 miles per hour or less, so that's a little bit better. 46 to 50 miles per hour, it drops down to 2.63%. It continues to decline from there, and again, one singular car going 71 miles per hour or more. Some notable projects that we have in the works. We've begun preparations to conduct a new range very near to our current location. The proposed changes to this range have been reviewed by KLC and GIS to make sure that it's both feasible and safe. I will feature improved safety precautions such as an approximate 60-foot tall natural barrier, and it will also allow us to train at longer distances and allow us to train more dynamically while also maintaining safety. A few upcoming events that I've got on here are spring cleanup. It'll be April 22nd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And also the special needs gala event will be May 5th. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Questions for Major Boykin? I gotta get used to that Major Boykin thing.
Me too.
Yeah. Questions for Aaron? You guys, David's got one. You guys don't let him off the hook. He's new.
We're very proud of those signs that you use to monitor speeds and all, but do we have the ability to put a camera on there and send these folks a ticket?
We do not. That's actually not something that's currently being done in Kentucky to my knowledge. There may be some future legislation that helps cover that, but there are some issues that come along with that technology. Just for example, from my knowledge of that kind of a program from other agencies outside of this state, you have to have people that actually man that and monitor those pictures that it takes to verify that it's an accurate infraction and that it collected enough information to send that person a ticket. So you would have an added cost to have someone going over that all the time as well.
Sure it is. I've seen that, of course, in Washington, D.C. Got a ticket 2 weeks after I visited there, running a stop sign.
Welcome,
And then
welcome home.
more recently, out in Arkansas, in a fairly rural community, no bigger than Berea, they had an intersection there, and 3 o'clock morning, my son ran through there. So we got a ticket a couple of weeks later, and but it does work, and it sends a strong message, I think, to those who are heavy-footed. Thank you.
Jim?
It looks like the signs are working or helping with the people controlling their speed. And the one observation that I made, we had a complaint about Chestnut Street, and I'm assuming this is up
Yes,
around
sir.
the corner, around
Correct.
the curve. Okay. But that doesn't seem to hold true.
Not from the information that was gathered over those 8 days that it's been up there. As I said, 99.1% were within 5 miles per hour of the speed limit.
Good deal. Well, I like the signs. Keep moving them around.
Thank you.
And I like seeing your all's activity with the blue lights on the side of the road. It makes people think.
It does. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions or comments for Major Boykin? All right, seeing none, Aaron, thank you for your report, and we appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Would any other department heads like to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move forward to public comment. Would any members of the public like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward to the city administrator's report, and I know she has a lot. Rose Beverly, you have the floor.
You guys thought you'll get out of here early tonight. Well, I'm not gonna let that happen. No, it's not too bad. So I have a few bids that we need to get approval to accept tonight. The first one, and well, I'd like to start. I missed the whole thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me here, of course. Skip over that. I'm actually really excited because we got our resurfacing bid. So I'm excited to present that because it came in good. But we're going to start with the Berea Industrial Park expansion lot bid acceptance. Last Thursday, we had the bid opening for this project. We received 4 bids, and the bidders are, or I guess they still are until we decide. Kiefer's Contracting and Excavating came in at $429,955.60. Brown General Contractors came in at $459,900. Standifer Builders came in at $971,348, and H&B Construction came in at $999,955. So, our city engineer reviewed the bids and qualifications, and I would like to recommend to council that we accept the second bidder from Brown, the second the second lowest bid from Brown General Contractors LLC in the amount of $459,900.
Is there a motion to accept city administrator and city engineer's recommendation of Brown General Contractors in the amount of $459,900 for Berea Industrial Park expansion, Lot 7 excavation and site development? Motion by Mr. Cottle. Is there a second? Second by Jim Davis. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Got a question, where are they from?
Brown, can you,
We do have, I'll recognize with that objection, Jordan Haney from Thoroughbred Engineering, who is our contact with city engineer. Jordan, you have the floor.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet. I haven't had the pleasure to meet most of you all, but Thoroughbred's been the acting city engineer, I guess, as I was telling Bruce earlier. It was 2 years on Saturday. So hopefully get the chance to work with most of you all going forward in the future. But Brown, their office is in Georgetown, but they do quite a bit of work down in the city of Berea.
Okay.
hang tight for more questions.
Yeah.
Teresa?
I assume my question is what's on everybody's mind? Why are we taking the second lowest bid?
So as part of it, we reviewed all the bids, the qualifications, and from our overall review, we just felt like Brown had the better qualifications, given the small discrepancy in overall pricing.
Just
Jerry?
in general, what are we doing? What are we actually doing?
Yeah.
Don't make it
Yeah, yeah.
complicated.
Yeah.
What's
So
459 gonna
Yeah,
get us?
so basically we're gonna build, it's about 9 acres of building pad that'll, for 150,000 square foot building with associated parking. We're gonna extend the water line from the current spot is basically there on Mady Road, right in front of, I don't know the exact number, but basically right before you get to, and then a gravel road back to the building pad.
And it also includes the clearing of that.
Yeah,
That-
clearing,
That entire 150,000 square foot pad,
Yeah.
plus the related parking that'll go for a future industry, all that the trees have to be cleared. It's entirely wooded.
Yeah.
So it's a big job, plus the construction road going in is gonna take some work because at the end of Mady Road where the guardrail is, it's a pretty steep drop. So it's gonna require a lot of fill. Ronnie?
We're gonna clear the lot for East Kentucky Power to put their new, I just wanna make sure that.
Yes, within that, and Jordan and Rose feel free to jump in, but I'll take the liberty here to answer that. We are actually gifting roughly 1.5 acres to East Kentucky Power to build a new substation, and it will be contained within the 35 acres that makes up Lot 7, but it's kind of in the corner, more or less, Ronnie, where it's not out in the middle of that lot, and it won't interfere with the development at all, and that's going to be necessary for future large business and industry in the area. With App Harvest, the spec building, the growth at Heister, Hitachi Astemo Electric Motor Systems, and other growth that's going to require another substation to handle any future growth.
And should I abstain from voting because my son works for East Kentucky Power?
You can if you want to, Ronnie, but as far as ethical or conflict of interest, the chair's opinion is that you would not have any conflict. And I would think it would be appropriate for you to vote, but that's certainly your prerogative if you want to abstain. It'd be good either way. Okay. Jim?
This is on the 87 acres, okay? And we're building a pad.
Well, it's not a concrete pad, but it's a build-ready site. So this will be 150,000 square feet that's level with all the services to it. And if you guys remember, this is the one that the Kentucky Economic Development Fund, may not have that exactly right, but we actually received a grant for this, and it's a 50/50 grant. We received that under the Product Development Initiative, and we were one of the pilot awardees for that program, which we were very proud of.
And this does not, or this does include clearing out the whole 87 acres?
No, it does not
Just back
include,
to
it's
where-
just lot 7, and it will just clear where the pad goes.
Okay.
And Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, but that will include parking and areas
Yeah,
around
and-
that as well, right?
And as well, the access road that we're gonna build back
Right.
to it.
So it'll clear all that basically, Jim, to get back into it. And then we'll get into getting that marketed and getting a new employer in here, and hopefully a large employer with high pay. That's what we're aiming for.
And then the road, the state will build, is that correct?
Well, we don't know that for sure. Right now, I can give you an update on that constructing a road to connect Menalus and Mady, or to extend Mady, may be the better way to put it, is in the state transportation cabinet 6-year highway plan. But that is for acquisition of right-of-way and the design work. That's in this biennium. My understanding is that the funding for construction will go into the next biennium. So when the Kentucky General Assembly meets next winter and spring, this time of year, that should be in the 6-year plan going forward, and it is. So I expect that to go forward, yes.
Okay.
But it's not done until they build it.
Are we gonna have a big enough water line to
Yes,
support what needs to be supported?
yes.
Thank you.
Other,
One more question.
Jerry, go right ahead, sir.
Just for, on this earth pad, is that gonna be core drill now? Is it gonna be core drilled and ready for concrete, or?
So we went out and drilled it as part of design.
Okay.
Our team will be on site as they're putting in the fill to make sure it's going in properly, so that basically, as Bruce said, the state has what they call a build ready program that basically pad certified, ready to go. The plan wouldn't be to take it through that process, as there's a lot of other hoops and hurdles you jump.
I understand.
That is, from our perspective, some wasted dollars.
But you all cored it, did?
But yeah, we'll
Okay.
be,
I just-
we drilled it, and then we'll be on site as they're building the pad, making sure it's within spec.
And Jordan, I'll add to that Thoroughbred Engineering actually did, a lot of drilling because of rock that's on the other side of the railroad track, just to make sure that we wouldn't run into any surprises with rock, and all the drillings look good, right?
Yeah, and to give the contractors better information to put together a better bid.
Right.
So,
Yeah, this is compliments to Jordan and Thoroughbred while I'm at it, because this has been a first-class operation, from getting the grant to pay for half of this to the work that Thoroughbred's done and the work that Lucas Witt's done for us as well. So,
More question.
go right ahead, Jerry.
So Benj, you've core drilled it, checked it, rock and everything, they not much change in for a change order on this, is that right?
So
You got a
all the-
rock clause in it?
so every bit of the excavation was unclassified, so that basically the contractor, if it's rock, they've got to take it out. So there's no, hey, come back, we didn't expect this much rock. There wasn't any. It was all unclassified excavation.
All right, thanks.
Cord Jane?
I just have a question, probably you can answer. How many acres is this lot 7?
Right now, in
Stuff.
the master plan, it's at 35 acres, but Jordan and I were talking about that, and where the pad will go will be
9 to
12.
10 acres.
Yeah, it's a
of
little
area.
less than that. So the site could be sold as a 35-acre site, or it could be sold as a smaller site. But in the development plan, in the master plan, it's listed as a 35-acre building site,
But-
lot 7.
Yeah, and the way it lays, you've got 2 kind of valleys on both sides of this pad. So it would be almost, and likely, we haven't done any wetland studies in that, but likely there would be some environmental impacts that would come from trying to expand into those areas that would have
I
to
got
be
one
looked
more
at.
question.
Go right ahead, Jerry.
Just approximately, how many feet is it where the road ends out there now, where the guardrail is?
Think
How far up in there is it?
it's about 1,500 feet, I want to say, something about approximately.
All right,
If I
thank you.
remember the station.
Okay, we do have a motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion on the motion or questions related to the motion? And I'll repeat, the motion is to award contract to Brown Contractors, $459,900 for Berea Industrial Park expansion, Lot 7 excavation and site development. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries, and the city administrator will be directed to work with Brown General Contractors to get them started working and moving dirt. Rose, next item.
Do you have a date for them to start?
ASAP.
That's good.
Rose?
All right, so the next item is we have a bid acceptance for the floor scrubber for Public Works and BMU. This was approved in our budget for the year, and they've been looking for a floor scrubber and sweeper for about a couple of years. And they've had some demonstrations come in, but you guys did approve it in this budget, so they had one. Let me see. Sorry, I lost my place. Nilfix was the only response received and provided a quote for $28,098.72 for the 36-inch ride-on floor scrubber, $4,241.89 for the walk-behind floor sweeper, $756.81 for the wash hose kit, and $713.50 for the optional vacuum wand kit for the scrubber. BMU and Public Works have reviewed the bids and recommend purchasing the scrubber sweeper and both optional components for a total purchase price of $33,810.92. So we just need a motion for that amount to purchase the floor scrubber sweeper.
Is there a motion? And this would be to approve the purchase of a floor scrubber and sweeper, accept the bid of $33,810.92, and repeat the name of the company, Rose, that submitted the bid.
Nilfisk Incorporated.
Spell that, please.
Nilfisk.
From, the bid is from Nilfisk. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Cottle, is there a second? By Mr. Little. Is there any discussion on the motion? Jerry, go right ahead.
Is the reason we're needing these is where we're gonna take over our own janitor service?
No, this has been planned for a while now, and it's just because it takes so much manpower to clean those floors for both sides of those big garages that it's just a waste of time and resources. And it just dirty in there all the time. It's just not good, and so not good for the floors. So they wanted something they could drive around and keep everything clean.
So this for
Which
the
is-
BMU building only then?
No, it's for both garages, both inside garages, BMU and Public Works, and they're sharing the
okay.
cost of this. So they both had about, I think, $20,000 in the budget, knowing that they were hoping for it to come in less than 40, and it did. So
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Okay. Other questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to accept the bid of Nilfisk, amount of $33,810.92 for a 36-inch ride-on floor scrubber and sweeper, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. The motion carries, and we'll direct the city administrator to work with Nilfisk to get that sweeper in here where they can get started.
they're going to be excited. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, Rose.
And our last bid today that we have to talk about is the bid opening we had yesterday for the spring resurfacing project. We received one bid from Allen Company, and the bid came in at $71.40 a square yard for base failure, $122.95 per ton for paving, and $2.55 a linear foot for milling. Their total bill for all work that we proposed is $812,991.90. I recommend that we accept this bid.
Is there a motion to accept the spring resurfacing bid from the Allen Company, amount of $812,991.90? Motion by Mr. Little and a second by Ms. Wilson. Is there any discussion on the motion? Jerry, go right ahead, and then we'll come to Teresa next.
This is just off the top of my head. How much, you got any idea how much more that was from last year?
Yes, I do. Not exactly, well,
Just a
per,
percent.
per ton.
Just a rough number.
Yeah, it was 110 per ton on our last bid from last year, and it was $112.95 this year.
That wasn't too bad then, was it?
I am not complaining.
I was just curious about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I think it's notable on here that $36,000 of what we received in this bid is actually a BMU project, so it will not be coming out of our general fund.
One more question. When do they hope to start?
Well, I'm not exactly sure on that. I'll have to have that conversation with them.
You think we'll get it done by August or something?
Yes, I do think that. I did put that in the bid. I put it in there for them to do it this fiscal year.
Thank you.
Teresa?
Could you just remind the public how many miles that's gonna cover?
I don't have it broken down by miles, but I can read the streets.
That'll be helpful.
Okay. So we have Jason Circle, Edgar Drive, Glade Street, Blue Lick Road, Kenton Drive, Highland Drive, Pinnacle to Cumberland, Kenway, Rose Street, Circle Drive, Pine Street, Meadowlark, Mady Road to the railroad track, Ellipse Street, Leslie Drive, and then there's a wastewater treatment plant, J.C. Chambers Road parking lot and driveway.
Okay, thank you, Rose. It's a lot of work.
That's good.
Other discussion? Jim?
Well, the J.C. Chambers Road, will that widen the road any, or is that just?
No, this is the driveway and the parking lot. We did have on there some of the road, but I think that's another area. I would have to ask Kevin on that because that was so last minute for me, and we didn't. That's not on this bid right now. We're going to be dealing with that separate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on the motion? I do have a motion to accept the bid from the Allen Company for spring resurfacing total of $812,991.90. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to accept the bid, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries, and we'll direct the city administrator to get that worked out, and let's get to paving.
Yay. I'm excited about that.
carry
The
on.
final thing that I have to talk to you about is the spring cleanup. You'll have a copy of this flyer with you. I just want to let the public know what's going on. And I think we have this every year. The City of Berea and Waste Connections will hold spring cleanup within the city limits of Berea the week of April 17th to the 21st, 2023. The cleanup will coincide with your normal garbage pickup. I think that's really important, so it's on the same day as your normal pickup. The collection crews will remove a normal pickup truck load on your scheduled day. Items for collection must be placed at curbside by 5 a.m. on the day of your pickup. If you have bulk items other than bagged waste or dry boxed items to be collected, you will need to call the Waste Connections office to schedule a pickup. All refuse must be placed in plastic bags or containers. Small limbs and twigs must be placed in securely tied bundles or in plastic bags. Used appliances and furniture will be collected and charged at Waste Connections scheduled rates as listed below. I'm not going to go over the rates, but it's appliances, white goods, stuffed chairs, couches and love seats, non-stuffed chairs, carpeting, fencing, and wire. This will be on our Facebook page, on our website, and you can call Waste Connections if you have questions, and it will also be in the newspaper this week and next week. So hopefully we'll get the word out to everyone, but if you have questions, it's important to know that you can call Waste Connections. I am going to give out their phone number. It's 877-288-2981. So that is all I have. If you have any questions for me, I'm open to try to answer them.
Questions for the city administrator? Ronnie, go right ahead, sir.
Rose, is mattresses included in that list? Because we have quite a few scattered around town.
It's not on the list, but we can ask about that.
Do that because a lot of people don't set them outright. They usually throw it up some bank around town.
That is very true. Thank you. That's a good question. I will look into that and let you know.
Other questions or comments for the city administrator? Steve?
I may have misheard you. I think you may have said 5 p.m. on day of pickup.
Oh, I meant to say 5 a.m.
Day of pickup.
I'm so sorry. Did I say
So anybody might go back and watch and say, that's what they said. So 5 a.m.
5 a.m. Thank you, Steve. Good catch.
Other Other comments or questions for the city administrator? Seeing none, good report, Rose, thanks, and thanks for your work and for others. Jordan, acknowledge you being here again. Thanks for making the trek down to walk us through some of those questions and your work leading up to this. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is mayor's comments, and I just have one thing tonight. My word to the wise and word to all of you is help spread the word. Everybody's hiring in Berea. There's a lot of jobs out there, a lot of people hiring. And one of the new, actually a company that's been here for a while, Motor Wheel, they're hiring up. And Donna Angel, anytime that there's a request from an employer in Berea to help find good employees, Donna is always there to help. There's actually going to be a job fair on April 27th, 1 to 5:30, and those are on site at Motor Wheel on Glades Road, correct, Donna? At the Folk Center, at the Acton Folk Center. So we'll have this on the city website, I think, is that right? So again, Motor Wheel is hiring up, and I think they're ramping up some very significant hiring, very competitive wages and benefits, and our large employers especially are hiring all around town, as are many smaller employers. So the economy is booming in Berea. So Donna, thank you for supporting Motor Wheel, and if you all would pass the word, and we need to find good quality employees for them. That's all I have, and we'll next move to council comments. And tonight I'll begin with Ronnie Terrell. Ron. We'll move to Cora Jane Wilson. Cora Jane.
Thanks for everybody that came and presented and explained, and thank you 911 for what you do. That's very important. And thank you, CASA, for all that you do for the children. Very, very, very important too. Just everybody have a happy Easter. Be safe and go to church.
Thank you, Cora Jane. Next, Steve Cottle. Steve, you have the floor.
Both of our proclamations tonight were very important. Thank you for doing those, and I can't say anything that Major Borkin said about the telecommunications. It's such a good statement of the great work you all do, and it's really kind of mind-numbing to think of the number of calls that you just listed. I was trying to do the math in my head of what that would be a day, and then I just stopped because it's really amazing the amount of just help that you all give our community, and also for CASA. That what an honor to be the national executive director of the year, and it's really unfortunate that we have such a need for the services, but it's such a blessing to our community that you provide those. That's all I have.
Thank you, Steve. Next, we'll move to Jerry Little. Jerry. Thank you, sir. Next, David Rowlett. David, you have the floor, sir.
Okay. Of course, I want to thank all the folks that came out tonight and those that are listening in from a distance. We certainly appreciate their input and things in decision-making process. I also want to congratulate Victoria. That's quite an honor. To win the state is one thing, but to win the nation, that's outstanding. And then I do want to encourage everybody to take advantage of the spring cleanup. Most of us have things sitting around that we don't need, or it's cluttering up our driveway or our basement or something. So let's try to take advantage of that and clean the community up so that our tourists and others can appreciate things as much as we do. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Next, we'll move to Teresa Centers. Teresa, you have the floor.
Ditto on thank yous to all of you all who do such important work, and on spring cleanup. I'm glad to see the redbuds and the dogwoods blooming and cleanup getting done, and it makes me think, when are we going to be able to drive on our new bypass? Do we have a date?
Driving on the new bypass, the last thing I had was June, but I know that there's still some design work to be done, and those things inevitably take a little longer, but the target date's end of June.
Well, I knew the target date was the end of June, but I was hoping we'd be on it before then. Thank you.
I'm hoping for June. All right, and last but not least, for the last word, Jim Davis. Without objection, we'll do Jim, and we'll give Jerry the final word.
Thank you, Jerry. Just want to congratulate our presenters tonight, Victoria. Good deal. 911, thank you. It's quite an organization. You do great work. Major Boykin, congratulations on your promotion, and thank you for you and the chief and the rest of the department being more proactive and out there and visible and doing good work for us. And that's it.
Thank you, Jim. Jerry? Go right ahead.
I just thought about it. It's getting grass mowing time, you know, everybody's mowing their yards. And if everybody'd be careful and not blow the grass out in the streets, you know, motorcycles coming along, and it's just really slick and dangerous. And then for a maintenance issue, if you blow it down the curb drains, it stops or drains up in the street. And if you just watch your grass and sort of keep it up into your yard, it'd be for safety and maintenance too. That's all I gotta say. Thank you. Thank y'all, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, Jerry. And that brings us to the end of the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
By Steve Codlin, the second by David Rowlett. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?